All right. Hello, everybody. Y'all say hey. Make sure you have reminded your teams. This is going to be fun. I got Addie again. But hey, you're going to make a mess. Look, I told you two things. Look, you're making a mess. You can have this and that brush. That's it. Okay. Hi. Hello, everybody. Can you say hi to everybody? Look, now you can see them. Hi, look, Bobby's waiting. You say hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Y'all, she went to, there's Shelby.
It's mommy.
There's mommy. She went to school today and was fine. And then as I was picking her up, they said she had 102 fever. Poor thing, 101.6. So, and she's on a fucking antibiotic. So what the heck? I mean, my gosh. So anyways, all right, tonight, I know we got a little sidetracked last week with all the new things that were going on. So we were kind of off of our topic that we were talking about for the last couple of weeks, which if you remember was sales. Okay. That is what we were talking about before we went to convention. And then the incredible Elizabeth gave us an awesome training while we were at convention. And then we recapped convention last week. And now here we are. So we are back on the psychology of selling. Okay. So I'm going to kind of give you, yes, there are techniques that work, but there is also a mind side to psychology of selling, to the sides of sales. Okay. Let me move this so I can get my computer over here. Okay. So now, oh, Addie, hold on. Okay, now, have you ever had somebody sell you something that you were not planning to buy? Like you went to somewhere or you saw something, you're like, I'm not going to buy. Maybe you went to a party, right? The parties, the Pampered Chef or 31 bags. You're like, I am not going to buy. And then they did something. You're like, dang it, they got me, right? You're like, I wasn't going to do this. I wasn't going to do it, right? And guess what? You don't even feel bad. Like you're like, dang, they got me, but you don't even feel bad, right? That is where the psychology of selling comes in, because they did something to your brain to make you go, I gotta have it, right? They didn't just do this whole 50% off your products. Like there was a mind part of the psychology of selling that came to it that caused you to get busted and caught. Okay. So anybody, no, we're not going to spray my new time locker spray. Okay. Anybody, hey, no, ma'am. Okay. Anybody can become a successful salesperson. You can. I did not join this industry saying, oh, I'm a good salesperson. Because I never did. I mean, I never did anything. I mean, I was a waitress, which I guess you kind of sell people things there, but you more serve people, which we talked about that a couple of weeks about how that can play into it. But I came in saying, I'm not a salesperson. How many of you have ever heard that from somebody when they're joining you? I'm not a salesperson. Or maybe you even said, I'm not a salesperson. I can't do this. Okay. We are not selling. We are sharing. Okay. That's what I always try to get people to understand. But selling is not just forcing people to buy something that they don't want. If you are trying to force people to buy something that they don't want, that is not sustainable. It may be a sale that you get because you've kind of persuaded them to get it, but it's not sustainable. Okay. How many of you have ever had state troopers pull you over at the end of the month because they're trying to get a quota, right? You see all the cops out on the last few days of the month. Why? Because they've got a quota to meet. That's what I'm saying is some of you are just pushing your sales when there's a massive sale. And yeah, you may get a sale because you're pushing for a goal, or you're pushing to hit this cruise, or you're pushing, I'm just giving examples, okay? Or you're pushing to close out a sale, but you're forcing people to get something that they don't need. So then guess what? It's not sustainable, right? So we have to get out of that mindset. We need to make sure that we are understanding the needs of our customers, our prospects. This goes in hands with selling products and opportunity. You need to make sure that you are understanding that. Okay. You need to show how what your product or your service solves their problems. Communication and persuasion are the psych of selling. The psychology of selling is your communication and your persuasion. That is one of the key parts of the psychology of selling. You need to focus on their desires and their feelings rather than the features of your product and service. Does that make sense? When you are trying to get sales, you need to focus on their desires and their feelings rather than the features of your product or your service. Instead of saying, this Air Glow foundation is skincare infused, blah, blah, blah. What if they don't care about that? What is their desire? What is their need? Maybe they have struggle with inflammatory things. Well, then you know that our powders are going to help go towards that because of the squalene in it now, right? You need to pay attention to what their desires are and their feelings are rather than focusing on what the product or your service does. Okay. We need an emotional reason that they're going to want what you have to offer, right? We've talked about the emotions before, but we have to have an emotional reason. And when you have an emotional reason of why they need what you have, product or service, then you have the solution to that, right? Okay, that's where you're going to have the stories. That's where you're going to have the success. Gosh, y'all can't even talk. Say, what are the stories that you have of where you have touched somebody's feelings or their desires, and then you've offered the solution instead of just getting on a live saying, oh, look at all the products. Oh, look at all the features that this has. Tap into people's feelings and desires. Okay, so that is another thing with the psychology of selling. Another part of psychology of selling is you need to ask questions and listen to what they say. What's that saying that the Lord gave you one mouth and two ears for a reason? Ask questions and listen to what they say. This helps you understand what the pain points are, what their desires and their feelings are, and what they're looking for, right? Because you're understanding more, you're asking questions, and then you make your pitch once you understand that. Okay. So many of you just pitch from day one. They say, oh, I'm interested. And you're like, okay, here's my link. Go blah, 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 blah. You don't even know anything that they have. You just pitch it. You need to listen more and ask questions. Some of us are guilty of verbal word vomit. How many of you feel like you're guilty of word vomit because you're too excited? Go look at your conversations. I want you to look at your conversations and see who's talking more. Is it you or is it them? Are you asking questions or are you just giving your input? Go look at your last few conversations with a prospect or customer. Okay. So ask questions and listen to what they have. Another part of psychology is selling. Addie, please stop. No more. Remember, I said you can have the lip gloss. Is you have to have the power of positive thinking. Believe in yourself. I tell you guys all the time, I will believe in you until you believe in yourself. But you have to believe in it and yourself. And then you will exude, can't say that word, confidence. Because you believe in it, right? That's when people are trying to sit and talk bad about anything. I'm like, if you have to sit and dog and tear down something to make yourself look better, to make your product stand out better, no. If you believe in it, you like, what's that word? How do you say it? Exude. I think that's the word. Exude. You're passionate about it. Okay. Not overly, right? Not over the top that you're just like, have you overwhelmed people, right? We don't want to do that. But you believe in it. Okay. We've all had those people where they're just like way too much, right? So you don't want to be that. But if you doubt yourself or you doubt the product that you have, it can come across the wrong way to people, and they can see that. That's when they say, I'm not sure, right? I'm not sure if I want to get that. We don't want to turn them off, okay? So power of positive thinking, that is huge. Another part of the psychology of selling is your body language, your gestures, your postures, your facial expressions, your eye contact. All of those play a part into sales. Practice this. I want you to look at people. Oh, you locked it. Hold on 1 minute. We got to wait 1 minute. Okay. Tell me when it's up. Don't touch it. I want you to practice this. Hold on. It's not done. I have even done this lately. I have this awful habit. I don't know if anyone's ever noticed it from me, but when I'm like talking to somebody, I don't know, for sometimes it's hard for me to like stare at them in the eyes the whole time. Like I'm looking off over here and looking back and I'm not connecting with them. Right. But your interactions, your face expressions, all of those things, that is a difference. It's still loading. Look, you need to match people's energy, right? If they're not all like, you're not going to be, okay? You need to match people's energy, but you need to believe in what you've got, right? We want people, when you are having a conversation with them, almost done, we want them to feel like you are interested. How many of you ever had a conversation with somebody and you can just clearly tell that they're not interested? They're not paying attention. Their mind is in 8 million different places. I feel like that sometimes with people in my life. There it is. Yeah. Some people in my life is I can tell if they're really paying attention to me or not. Right. So we want people to be able to tell that. And that is the art of selling as well, is your gestures, your body language. Okay. Another part of the psychology of selling is you've got to follow up. And we've talked about follow up before, but I don't just mean follow up once you get the sale or follow up if they haven't placed the sale. Okay. But we're going to talk about that in a minute. And this may seem obvious. Oh, turn that down. This may seem obvious. Hold on. There we go. This may seem obvious to some of you, and you're like, oh, Ashley, I do that all the time. But I'm telling you, the follow-up is huge. It is so necessary because you want to stay in front of people as much as possible. Building relationships, staying in touch. Did you know that your live videos, your reels, those are a form of follow-up? Why? Because it is a way that you are staying in front of people. If your network has to ask you, are you selling pharmacy still? To me, that'd be like, ooh, I'm not showing up. They're not seeing my stuff. I've got to up it, right? Because that's how the algorithm is sometimes. But follow-up is how you stay in front of people. So what are you doing to stay in front of people? You also need to make sure that people have a great customer experience with you. You guys have all been a part of someone that had made an impactful customer experience with you, right? Whether it was at a waiter or a waitress, or it was at a store, you went to, I'm trying to think, like when I went and got my Louis Vuitton bag, the customer service was up to a par, right? They offered you champagne, they offer you these free mints and perfume, and they follow up with you how your bag's doing. Like, you all have an experience with a product or an opportunity that made you say, wow, that's good customer experience. Start taking mental note of what these are, and then you become really good at it, okay? Because we don't ever want people to say, oh, I'm not using her again, or I'm not going to buy from her again. Or when we have our subscription program, you don't want people to say, oh, I'm going to cancel my subscription program from her. No, you've got to stay in front of people. Doesn't just have to be, like I said, a follow-up to get a sale, but what is the experience that people are having when they join you, when they buy from you? That's why anytime I ask for reviews from my customer, we'll talk about reviews in a minute, or I ask for reviews from the team on what you're getting from our team, and I share that because I want people to realize the experience that they're going to have when they join me and when they buy from me. Okay. Now, there's another couple techniques. We're just going to hit them really quickly on the psychology of selling. One of them that my incredible former coach, I can't believe I just said that, Jessie Lee instilled in us. One of them is called foot in door. Okay, foot in door. The foot in the door is really where you're just performing a small action and then you do another thing. So for example, this is kind of a way that you are upselling in a way, but somebody buys an eyeliner from you and you're like, oh my gosh, I love that eyeliner. But did you know, I really think that a lot of people love the eye primer with it because it's going to make that eyeliner last a little bit longer. Right? So you got your foot in the door because they were interested in the eyeliner that you had to offer, but then you took another action to make their experience better, right? Okay. So when someone is saying yes to something, it's like, what is the next thing that you can add on to that experience? It's getting that foot in the door. Does that make sense? Okay. Another thing is visual cues. How many of you ever been to Costco or Sam's, right? I'm about to give you some visual cues about Costco and Sam's. And y'all are gonna start paying attention to this, right? I learned this from my coach. As soon as she said it, I was like, she is right. And now, like every time I go in Costco, I'm like, they did it. They did that. They sure did. Y'all make sure you mute yourselves because I got Addie in my hand, so I can't mute everybody. But Costco, anything, hold on now. Making sure. Hold on, I see somebody's talking. Okay, sorry, I'll get distracted if not. Costco, if it ends in 99 or 69, it's not a sale. How many of you probably think if it ends in 99 or 69 that that's a sale? I'm here to tell you that's not a sale. But at Costco, if it ends in 97, that is a sale. Do you see how these visual cues are grabbing you? If you see a 99 or you see a 69, you're probably thinking, oh, that's on sale, right? But really a 97, that is a sale. Then there's even one where it says if it ends in a 49 or a 39, those are manager discount sales. How did Jessie Lee know this? It's because she was attuned into Costco and what it has. If there's an asterisk in the left corner, it means it's a final sale. Do you see how there are visual cues that grab people's attention? Your words can even be visual cues. Sale, discount, save, just. Be thinking about what your visual cues are. There are lots of ways that you can implement your visual cues in your business. Obviously, you're not going to go and discount products and do all these numbers, right? But I'm just saying, be paying attention to visual cues that you can offer because it messes with people's brain, not in a bad way, but it starts getting them thinking that they need to act now. It's the psychology of selling. Okay. Oh, I heard this the other day. Perceived quality. Did you know that products that end in a 0 or a 5 will let you get tons of sales? Products that end in a 0 or a 5 get tons of sales. That's why when pharmacy does them dang sales and it's like $3.45, right? I'm like, yeah, we're going to get lots of sales. But for some reason, those numbers 5 and 0, they get you lots of sales.
Mommy.
Another thing. Yes, ma'am.
Can we make ears?
Oh, it's right here. We're almost done. Okay, you're doing so good tonight. Thank you so much. You want this? Okay. The next thing about a way to do a technique of psychology selling is bundles. And y'all, I have drilled this into your heads until I'm blue in the face. But I don't think you understand. When you do bundles, it is a psychology of selling where people think, oh, I'm getting a deal. Right? When you do your full face bundle and you say, oh, you get this full face bundle for $147 and you're going to save this much money and you're going to get free shipping. They're like, oh, shoot. Yeah. People love bundles. I get this for this much because they can't get it anywhere else. It is a psychology head bump. How many of you have had a furniture store in your town that's been going out of business forever? Low stock, going out, act now, final sale, closing soon, right? And then you go in there and you realize they ain't closing, but they got you because they are offering some sort of bundle deal. 90% off this weekend only. Blowout sale. These are things that are going to get you sales and you need to be paying attention to. The bundles are huge. Okay. People love bundling. They love thinking that they're going to get a better deal. When I do my $147 bundle and I say it's a bundle, little do they know if they just go buy them all separate, that's $147. But they don't know that. It's a psychology of selling. Then the next thing I want you to tell you, and then we're going to talk one more thing, is that your reviews sell. I mentioned this a few minutes ago about getting reviews from your customers and your teams because 70% of Americans read at least 7 reviews before making a decision. How many of you, when you're on Amazon or Temu or anywhere, right? Lowe's, wherever, Overstock, you're looking and you're going to read the reviews. Why? Because you want to know if it's good. Your reviews sell. Get them. Get the stories that people have about their experience with you. Get customers. Send out customer poll things in your emails to get feedback from them. Ask your team. Make people feel good and tell the stories more. Okay, last thing real quick, and then we're going to get off is these are emotions that you are going to want to use, which is going to trigger emotions when you are doing your marketing messages. Now, when I say marketing, this can be your posting, this can be your stories, this can be your copyright, this can be emails, this is going to be when you talk to people. These are emotions that you want to hit on, okay? Not all of them in one post, right? But these are going to psychologically get some sales. One thing is competitions. When we had a couple promos a couple months ago about getting your frontline active, I did a competition of who could get orders in, and our team sales went up drastically because people were in a competition with each other of who could get the most sales to get this bag or whatever it was, the points that I was looking for. Okay. So 1, competition. 2, community. People want to feel belong. They want to feel like they belong. That's what separates pharmacy, I feel like, from everyone is the community. And you want to share that with people. 2, you want to create FOMO, fear. Right? Hurry, limited time. You want to create that. They're going to miss out on something. Another one, indulgence or spoiled, right? Guilt-free, instant gratification. Something that is going to cause instant gratification. Another one, guilt. I know for me, one thing that I can really hone in on because I'm a mom and mom guilt is real. And it's not that I'm poking at weaknesses. I'm just bringing awareness to it because it is a real thing. But guilt is something that you can tap into. Another thing, another emotion, first adopters. People love to be the first at anything, right? They want to lead the way. They want to be one of the first. That's why with the 2.0 launch, get in now. It's the very first time. It's a relaunch. It's like starting all over again. That's why so many people say, oh, if I would have only gotten pharmacy earlier. Not that it really matters, right? But that's the psychological side of it that people feel. Okay. Popularity. That's another emotion. People want to feel a part of a crowd. They want to be the heroes. They want to be the trendsetters. Pharmacy products. We are setting the trends right now with our new stuff. Another one, time. Offer what you are selling. Use words like now, act now, save now, move now. Don't miss this offer. What are the benefits of people acting now and not waiting till tomorrow, right? Your post also want to, or what kind of marketing you do, value. They need to know why you. I've been saying this for weeks, months. Why you? It's one of the things where you under promise, but you over deliver. What is separating you? And then the last emotion is trust. And this one is huge because it makes people want to give you their money. And that helps you explode because money is personal. And when people trust you, They trust you with their money and they'll give it to you. So are you building trust with your people? Okay. Words that work well when you are building trust are things like full refund, money back guarantee, 30-day, whatever, those types of things. Act now, bonuses, breakthroughs. This is what gets people to stay with you because they trust you. Trust is how you are going to get business. You need to prove them right of why they buy from you. Okay. So did you find value? Were you taking notes? Did you get some value from this tonight and got your wheels turning on the psychology of selling? You need to learn this so that when you are doing your copyright, when you are doing your lives, your posting, your reels, all things, you are tapping into the psychology of selling because it is a lot of this. Yes, you can go live every day. Yes, you can post every day. But if you don't have the psychology behind getting the sales, you're missing a boat. You're not going to get the value to get the sales. Okay. All righty, guys. I love y'all so much. I am going to get off and take care of this little one, but I hope you guys have a great night. I just watched a training on marketing and what people need. Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. And the value that you have is different than what I have. All right, you guys, I love y'all, and we will see you next Thursday. Say bye. Bye. Night, y'all.